Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, everybody. And so, as promised at the end of my last video, I will be doing a reaction to this non-Muslim lady's video, and this video is called Women's Decline of Modesty Through the Years, because as you know, we are meant to dress a certain way for the sake of Allah. So I really wanted to address this, and I've been wanting to talk about it again ever since I made a video about it that did not do so well, but I still wanted to talk about this topic because I think that it is important. And now I promise that I will get right back, because as I promised, I will do back and forth content. So I will finish the Quran, inshallah, and starting with this subscriber and what they want me to do. I promise you that I will try to do this next weekend, because actually, or next Friday, as I usually post on Friday, early as I can. Anyway, and so yeah, the thing about that is just that like school is starting soon, so I wanted to actually get this one out sooner and get the Quran video out even sooner than that. But I must stick to my word and do the video that I said that I was going to do at the end of my last video that I just did for you guys. So without further ado, hopefully you enjoyed this one, because this is still very much relevant to Islam. And anyway, this is just an issue that I see happening throughout the world right now. And just as importantly, I like to say almost as importantly, this is a topic where she ends up mentioning God at the end, and how maybe we should, like she ends up mentioning God and like maybe how we should conduct ourselves. You know what I mean? So that is what got me hooked on this video, and this is why I decided to react to it with you guys, where I may be stopping in between to talk a little bit. So without further ado, let's go.
Oh, brother is right.
Hi, I thought it would be fun for us to explore together how we experienced this great shift in America, where we used to have women dressing like this to now women dressing like this. Seriously, how did we get here? I've always been fascinated by this, so I wanted to know for myself for this video. How did we get here? When did it happen? What was that big shift that happened in America that caused this? Let's dive in. America, founded in 1776, with a population that was estimated to be about 2.5 million people. During this time in the 1700s, women did not own more than about 2 to 4 outfits. The styles of the times were elbows and knees to be covered at all times. The 1700s marked an era of extremely tight and possibly
so you know how she said that like even ankles,
elbows and knees to be covered at all times.
At this time, Christianity was very much enforced. Still, the book was corrupted by this point, but it was very much enforced and instilled within American women, specifically white women. Let's not lie to ourselves, but it is just interesting how they had seemingly at least an ounce of God's fear in them, of fearing God in them. Sorry, of God fearing in them, and so they would dress in this way as the men prescribed for them to dress, as per what they considered appropriate. Now, again, if you look at pictures of Mary, to which I'll put up on the screen here, then you can see, and I will cover her face because we do not know what she really looked like, and Allah does not like us to draw faces. That is up for debate. But anyway, so right here, she clearly has at least some makeshift hijab on. So this is something that even within the Christian Bible, we can, without a shadow of a doubt, and I've been wanting to talk about this forever, conclude that it is what a believing woman is meant to wear. This is not my feelings. These are not my feelings. These are not my opinions. These are clearly set rules that God has made very clear to us throughout time. But a lot of people, through ignorance and wanting to change things, clearly have done just that.
Suffocating corset dresses that were meant to exhibit sexuality while maintaining the woman's modesty, perfectly. They felt that this was just enough to attract a man, to get a man's attention. Honestly, I would love to hear from the men in the comment section if this is an outfit that you would be attracted by. I wonder what the Eleanors of the 1700s would think of our skirts and dresses today. They would probably think that we were a part of a nearby brothel. The 1800s was very similar, as modesty was still very much valued, and it was a big part of fashion. It was inappropriate for a woman to even show her ankles. Skirts were all long, and cleavage wasn't even an idea. To men, modesty was a major sign of beauty, a sign that a woman cared for her body and was humble. Also, a majority of America in the 1800s was Christian and believed in the Bible. In the mid to late 1800s, dresses allowed for more movement for a woman to travel long miles to the west and work in fields. The comfort of the clothing also made it easier for women to do house chores. Although many lived on farms and were surrounded by dirt, women didn't hesitate to look good. Each dress was sewn with beautiful patterns. That way, a woman could be looked at as a hardworking, beautiful woman. I'm sorry, that is awesome. Moving on to the 1920s. As the 1920s began, the income of the wealthy increased, and young women started to rebel against their mother's way of dressing. World War I caused women to rebel primarily because it forced them into taking on traditionally male roles due to men being at war. This led to a significant shift in societal expectations and fueled the push for greater women's rights. After World War I, women felt stronger, and the new young generation rebelled against old tradition. Skirts got shorter and more skin was shown. Hair was cut short, makeup was worn more, and women went to dances and parties. The women dated more, and many found it hard to return to their old ways. They were given the name flappers. The roaring 20s fashion had begun and shaped the way how women dressed in the future. This shift away from modesty turned out to be truly an effect from World War I. I thought this was so interesting to find out because I had no idea that this is where we had one of our first shifts away from modesty. It was because of World War I. In the 1930s, women's styles started getting much simpler and makeup more common, as well as many women dressed classy. Then came World War II. Many women weren't able to focus on fashion due to the fact that women also began to volunteer in the armed forces alongside the men in World War II. Also, women were more focused on taking the men's jobs in factories as they fought in the war. The 1950s showed us how influential those that are in the limelight can be on fashion choices. Celebrities also set the stage for women's fashion. Many models and actresses were seen as the very definition of beauty and were followed after. Then came the sexual revolution in the 1960s, which we have talked about so much on this channel. Truthfully, after studying this revolution so much, this is where America changed forever, when it would never be the same. Being that the birth control pill was introduced, it allowed women to control their fertility, making it that they can have as many sexual partners as they wanted with a lower risk.
You see how she said they can have as many sexual for the, for the YouTubes. I want to actually say the word, so I will say sme. But yeah, seeing as how she said that the pill, the contraceptive, will allow women to have as many sexual partners, aka create as much fornication and adultery as much as their hearts desire. And we all know that Allah says, do not follow your desires. I'm pretty sure in multiple verses, so I can put one up on the screen. I mean, this is just what I mean when I say that we have gone astray. I mean, these are not my words. This is what I believe Allah was referencing when he said that we, certain people have gone astray, because clearly this is a perfect example. It is not that you are getting rid of a child. That is another topic for another day, but it's the simple fact that you are preventing childbirth, which if Allah wills, you will have a child. We know plenty of cases where they have children anyway, because Allah was going to bring a soul in this world through that human and through that human's body, regardless of what they wanted. Because this is why this secularism that started to come into America, and again, I will only talk about America because I live in America. So please do not take offense to this, but this is exactly why, Allah is very strict in our rulings, and why we should follow Sharia law, and why nobody really does anywhere, because Sharia law would prevent all of this, bid'ah, which happened to Christianity, which is innovation, because innovation is a huge sin. Innovation in Islam is terrible to do. So this is exactly why I really do not appreciate this, even though, like I said, I probably not have said it, and I will not, but like, I have experiences where I understand personally, on a personal level, why this is just not a good idea. This can cause all sorts of problems to your body if you are not careful. And this is just, obviously, like I said, it created more of a leeway for women to cheat, because before, women probably would cheat less and were less likely to cheat just because they knew that, hey, I don't really want to risk getting pregnant by this other guy. So they would give up a sin and a desire. You see where I'm going? You see where I'm going with this? They would give up this desire simply because they knew that the consequences would be dire. And then, sexually transmitted diseases and all those things that we're not going to get into also came after this. Like, we already know about that. So a lot of sin was curated and marketed as a very good thing in America, in early America. But yeah.
Of pregnancy, which I believe is a very large reason why marriage rates have been in a long decline ever since. In the 1970s, crop tops became a symbol of the feminist movement and were worn as a statement of liberation and empowerment. I had no idea that this was the story behind the crop top. This movement led the 1980s to be all about power. Responding to the times, designers like Yves Saint Laurent crafted suits and skirt suits that wore like armor. Shoulders were exaggerated and padded, double-breasted silhouettes, which made a figure loom larger than it was. Bold colors differentiated the look from traditional men's suits. So it looks like this was the first time where men's fashion entered into women's fashion. The 1990s clothing became even less. 2000s, even less. And fast forward to 2012, I guess this still wasn't enough nakedness for everybody, because there was a movement.
Control the flow of nudity and violence into our theaters. Our sexuality has been taken away from us and is essentially being sold back to us.
You honestly believe that we can change the laws in this country? You need to go really big.
National publicity stunts, viral campaigns.
This movement challenged the double standard that allows men to go shirtless while often penalizing women for showing their... Thankfully, that failed, and we don't have women walking around with their shirts off. But even though things didn't go in that direction, we ended up going a different route. The Kardashians have played, I'd argue, the most vital role in leading women's fashion, wearing outfits that most women probably would have never even dared to wear until they watched this show. Also being the many female rap artists like Cardi B and Ice Spice, who are now leading this next generation somewhere, I don't know where. We're gonna find out, only time will tell. I wasn't gonna make this video because I personally wanted to research this for myself. I wanted to know when this drastic shift happened. But I think it's so important to bring awareness to this, to step back, look at the whole picture, and assess the situation. Are we all benefiting from living in an overly sexualized society? The sexual revolution of the 1960s significantly transformed American society that brought about a new era of freedom and self-expression in how women dress. However, beneath this facade of liberation, we find consequences that many might overlook. While individuals celebrated newfound sexual autonomy, the breakdown of traditional family structures were dramatically affected. It led to an increase in single-parent households and a shift in societal values. Many people have found themselves feeling lonely and hopeless in a society that doesn't value sex, and as a result, doesn't value modesty. I've personally made it my mission this year to pursue modesty, and I have experienced true hidden and forgotten power that modesty brings. In a world today that looks down on a woman who considers her body to be sacred, I've found the empowerment is not found in wearing less, but wearing more. I believe with all my heart that if women started to value their bodies again in America, we would see the biggest shift in marriage, joy, and self-worth, more than our country has seen in a very long time. It's almost like our country was doing so much better when we acknowledged God. Could it be the movement that was created by women to bring fulfillment and liberation and power did the complete opposite? Could it be that the women society looks down on, who value family, life being brought into this world, and clothing, are the ones who are truly living the fulfilled, liberating, and empowering life? And could it be that the Proverbs 31 woman is the definition of what a woman really is? The woman who is gentle, the woman who is sexually pure, a helper to her husband, who laughs at the days to come because she knows God is in control of it all, the woman who is clothed in dignity. Modesty has truly changed my life in so many different ways, and we'll talk about that in our next video. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and if you think more people need to hear this message.
That was a great video. So you see, I wanted to just jump right, Alhamdulillah, I wanted to just jump right into her quote, where she specifically says, it's almost as if we did better when this country acknowledged God. So again, we all know that this country never, as America, this country never fully acknowledged God. They stripped the original people of whatever they were practicing. Yes, Native Americans did some paganism as well, unfortunately, and all this stuff, but they still slaughtered their way up to the top. And then, my people kind of built this country on their backs and all that. But if we take all of that to the side for a second, which I cannot really do, but anyway, for the sake of context, yeah, there was at least a sense of, in terms of modesty, since we're going to stick to the topic a little bit here, a sense of, confidence, I will say, not pride, never that, but confidence, right? Where you will see women, without prancing them around, and, again, like, she mentioned about how, like, men saw it as, like, beautiful, but even still, lower your gaze, right? Put that quote here. Men should still lower their gaze. And I want to put another quote about how women should not only be modest in dress, but just like I showed you with Mary earlier, they should also have their head covered. Now, obviously, this is in the Quran, and I will show you what the Quran says about having our hair coverings, at least until we're old. And then how the Bible is even more harsh, because we already know that these are not actually Jesus's words, but the Bible is even more harsh in the fact that it says that, in fact, women should not even hesitate, not just when they pray, but in general, they should not hesitate. They should not hesitate to wear something on their heads. Otherwise, they might as well have their head shaved, or they should shave their head. And then the Quran says something very similar. It is not the same, and these are the verbatim words of God, but bear with me. And they're not quite the same, but they do mention, Allah does mention about how, like, if it is shameful for you to have your head shaved, or something along these lines. I do not want to get the words wrong, but they are already up on the screen for you guys. Then, she should cover her hair. So, with a khimar, which is a scarf. And then we often use the word hijab, which is actually more of an abaya that covers everything all together. Right? At least maybe except the face. So, and if it does cover the face, then I believe that is called a burqa. So, anyway, I'm just using buzzwords right now, you guys. But, so if you guys really enjoyed this video, you already know what to do. Please hit the subscribe button. Please like the video. Please share it out to your friends and family. And, I know that this is technically the new year and everything, although the new year actually does not start until June. Why did no one tell me this? Anyway, so I cannot say Happy New Yoo-hoo. You know what? But I can say Happy New Yoo-hoo. No. No. Happy New Year. Okay, yeah. Okay, so anyways, I really do always want to say so much more. But, so, I do want to mention how, speaking of the new year is actually, this one was actually based off of a fake god. Just look up Sheikh Uthman's video on that. But anyway, so, unfortunately, everything is a lie. I keep discovering more and more that just keeps breaking my heart. So anyway, may Allah guide her one day. She seems lovely. And thank you, Taylor, Alicia, because I did not mention your name in the beginning of the video. What is wrong with me? I have no idea. Anyway, so go check out her video. I don't know. May Allah guide her. And so without further ado, if it rhymes, it must be true. Love you. Farewell, guys. Until next time.